Unfortunately, create React apps proxy doesn't work anymore when it comes to sending requests to the backend. So keep the old code, but we're gonna bind it differently. To save you setup work, go to this GitHub link, run git clone, change directory into it, and then run npm install. The installation should take about 5 minutes. Now that we've finished the installation, open this up in your IDE, and the first thing we should do is go to server config keys.js and change your Mongo URI into this your personal MongoDB key. Now if we go into client, app.js, we can see that a tiny little React front end has been set up for you. Now in this video we're going to learn how to fetch requests to the backend endpoints. In the last video we actually already did this, but we used an external software called Postman. If you remember, it looks like this. However, we're going to be doing this in the front end so we can actually get access to data in the front end and play around with it. So first of all, before making requests in the front end, we got to know exactly where our endpoints are. If we go into index.js, we can see here is a dummy endpoint, app.get/API/get username, and then we're going to return your OS's user info username. Now inside your terminal, run npm run dev in order to make the front end and the server start running. And if we go into your browser and go to localhost 3000, we should be able to see the time to start working on the front end. And by the way, we have made a request to this dummy endpoint, and we have logged it. So let's see if it is indeed logged. Open up your console, we can see that there is a response object being logged. If we open this up, unfortunately though, we don't see that username and our user info being returned, it almost seems like. Now the reason to that is all of that is stored inside of this readable stream right here. And in order to decipher that readable stream, what we're going to do is then res.json, and then we're going to return that JSON and then console.log it. Now if we open up a browser again and restart, we can see it is indeed being logged. How beautiful. Okay, now let me talk about the fetch, then JSON, whatever stuff that is going on here. First of all, this right here is a simple GET request. We can see that this is a GET request because we don't care about what is being sent to this endpoint, we just care about sending stuff back. In contrast, something like fetching a user's social media post is not going to be a GET request because we care about what user it is, and then based on that user ID, we're going to fetch from the database and do stuff, right? So after we have done the fetch, we can see that we returned an object right here. And we can get access to the object by the .then res and then res.json, and this is called a promise-based syntax. The argument put into every single then statement is what is being returned from the previous statement. So this JSON right here is this res.json right here, and then this is equal to that. So when we console log res.json, it is whatever this object is right here. So that is what is happening under the hood. Now let's do the same thing before post command. First of all, let's identify the endpoint that we should be sending to. As you can see in the index.js file, we cannot see any more endpoints we should be hitting. However, there is an app.use, which means there are going to be more routes existing at the user's file. So let's go to users, router.post register, router.post login. So to hit these endpoints, we need to add this to whatever is right here. So to hit register, which is the first endpoint we're going to be implementing, it's going to be /API/user/register. Okay. Post command, we are going to be sending data to this endpoint. Where do we put this data? We're going to put it in a bracket, and we're going to simply do method post headers content type application/JSON. I think I typed something wrong. Oh. And then the most important part of the body is going to be JSON.stringified. And then we're going to put something here. So as we can see in the register endpoint, we are using some of the fields from rec.body. As a matter of fact, we're using rec.body, .email, .name, .password. There's also one that is password 2. So let's do that. We're going to put in some dummy data, and later we're going to actually build a form in React, so it's going to be dynamic. Email, let's just do, I don't know, asdf@gmail.com. We need the name, Andrew, password, and then password 2. Let's make it the same first. And afterwards, in the register endpoint, if a user is indeed successful, look right here, if the user is not successful, this if user right here means that it is already in a database. So if it's not successful, it's going to return stuff like email already exists. If it's if the password 1 and 2 are not the same, it's going to return something from this function right here. But if it all works, we're going to save it inside the database right here, new user .save, and then we're going to return it to the front end, res.json user. So right here, if this is successful, we should be able to see our user object if we do console.log.json. So save it. Let me bring my Chrome right here. Looks like nothing's okay. We got it. We can see that this is our new user object. Perfect. Let's build something more interesting now. Let's build a registered form. And inside of this form, we do need 4 input tags. Oh, let's make a React fragment. Let's just do div actually. So each of these will be corresponding to the 4 fields we'll be entering. Let's give it an ID that we can use later in the actual on change. ID equals to, second one is usually name, and then password. Password 2. Erase this at this point, we don't need the fetch at the beginning. Email, password, ID, password 2. Okay, so now we can do on change, this on change, or let's make it more intuitive, on input change. And here is going to be the beauty. I'm going to pass in the default events object. You can call this whatever you want. You can say events object. Let's just type it out so it makes more sense. It's actually on input change, my bad. We're going to this.setState e.target.id to the e.target.value. We're going to take the ID of that input. We do know that there is a state corresponding to it. We're just going to set that state to e.event.target.value. It's a very neat little dynamic thing to do. So save this, and then let's console.log. Right? Console.log the new state. Let's log the entire thing. Bring this over. E is not defined. Let's just change this to E. Okay. So as you can see, this works very well. Now we can build the actual critical part of the form, which is a button that submits everything. A button on click, register user. Forgot the this. Register user, we don't need to pass anything into it, we're just going to be using the state, making it an arrow function so we don't need to bind it. New user object, we'll just do new user object equals to name, this.state.name, email, this.state.email, password, this.state.password, and password 2, this.state.password 2. So that is the thing we should be sending to the endpoint. We did that earlier. And now let's actually call the endpoint again. Fetch /API /user/register. Gonna do this whole crap again. Method post headers content type, and then this application /JSON, and then the most important part one again is the body. We're going to do JSON.stringify this new user object, and then .then whatever it is, you know, whether or not the user successfully registers or does not, something is gonna return. We're gonna JSONify it, and then .json console.log djson. Okay, now let's save it. Believe this should all work, and then let's pull it up. Okay. I don't know why the button is so small, but okay, this first one should be email, ac1@gmail.com. Second one is name, Andrew. Third one is password, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and then register. As we can see, it works. How nice. Okay. So now instead of just console.logging a success message or the actual successful user object, let's redirect ourselves to a login screen or something like that. And also display error message if it doesn't work. So right here, the JSON object only returns whatever is in the body that is sent back, which is only the user object. But if we go to this res object right here, without the JSON part, we can get access to more information like the status of what is being returned. If it's 400, it's a bad request. If it's 200, you know, it's good. So if res.status equals to 200, let's just alert. Did it, else alert did not. And since actually registering that user thing takes a long time, I'm just going to implement more things before testing it. So if it is 200, let's make a state. Let's call it show login, something like that. Show login true. Then we can do this.setState. Name is name error equals to name, email error equals to email. I do not think I typed anything wrong. Okay, yeah, and this is it. So now let's actually handle whatever we implemented in the logic into the actual display, the rendering. So if we're just typing, at first show login is false, by the way, let's do that. Login is false, and also like name error, let's just do null for these. Password 2er is null. And then if we are showing login, let's show the login form instead of this thing. Alright, so this.state.show login, then we're going to show you. Now let's try to log in, div else let's show the register form, which is this baby right here. For some reason it's not working. I think it might be because I need a wrapper around all of them. I don't think I typed anything wrong. Yeah, okay. And let's see. Yeah, and then on top of every single one of these, we're gonna do this dot state dot name here, then this dot state dot name here, no. And then match these to every one of them. So this should be email. This should be email. This should be password. Did I type password wrong somewhere? Or else I don't think it shows up in my quick type thing. Password 2. Let's just do it like this for now. So if we save, go into here, and we press the submit button without doing anything, we can see that it is technically working. It's just really ugly. Email field is required, is matching to this one. Name field is required, this one, this one, this one. Yep, so it is working. And if we sign up correctly, and the ASDF, and the ASDF did it. Now let's try to log in. Perfect. Now let's program the parts about the login form. Again, let's look at our endpoint to study what is required to be sent. So let's go to users.js and then go to login. Okay, so it seems like we need to be sending email, password, and we probably don't need a password too, right? Yeah, and it seems like we're also not sending the username. So just the email and the password. Okay, easy. Instead of right here, let's make a wrapper again. And then let's do, what are we doing? We need a input form again. Let's do ID email register. I knew there was something wrong. We're not in register, we're in login. Email login, and this is what, password login. Yeah, I think. Okay, and let's see. On change. We're gonna also use this one. It's the same thing. These are our inputs, and we're trying to be at the same logic. So let's give it again a really ugly button. I'm sorry, dude. Maybe we'll improve the UI for 5 minutes, but you know, this is just so you guys get the front end stuff, the requests and stuff like that, and some little bit of conditional handling and rendering. On click, we are not going to be registering the user, but instead we're going to be logging in the user. Okay. And close this a little bit. Login user var user login equals to, we need the email, this state email login, and we need the password, this state password login. Perfect. So let's copy a little bit of this. Thank you. And instead of register, we're sending this post request to login. Looks like we need a parentheses here and an extra bracket. Then we're gonna get back to response. We're gonna turn into a JSON. Then JSON console.log JSON or some crap. Okay. Now let's review what happens when we send this request. it could either return success or not success. If it doesn't return successful, it is going to return a JSON with some fields inside of it. Now, if it has an error inside of validate login input, then it could either return an error with field email or an error with field password or both. If the email is not found after we matched it with the database, it could return a message with the field email not found, or password not found if the password is incorrect. Password incorrect. Now, if it works, it's just going to say success is true. Okay, that's pretty nice. Which means we know how to check it now. We can check whether or not our response is good by doing if JSON.success that is good. Else, everything else is bad. We're going to do this smarter this time. We're just going to do this.setState. Let's make a new state called like login errors. And then we're going to set it to JSON. Login errors is at first going to be just an empty array. And then right here, login errors dot, I don't know, what are the ones? If there's an email error, then we're going to display login errors dot email. That was null. If there's a email not found, or is it email? Yeah, email not found. Login errors dot email not found. That was null. And only one of these can be there at the same time, because you can either not have put in an email field, or you could have not found it, right? Because it kind of sounds like if you don't put anything in, you cannot find the email. But the thing is that this error is returned before this error is ever reached. So only one of these is going to be triggered, so they're not going to look weird. Login errors. And similarly, login errors dot password. Then we're just going to return password. Login errors dot password incorrect. Login errors dot password incorrect. Okay, well, let's see how this does. Make sure all of these, you have all the states and everything else. I think I might have added something when I paused the video, so make sure you have the states correct, and let's give it a try. Okay, restart. Okay, so we are in the register phase right now, so let's make a registration. And we gotta make sure this one works so that we can go into the login screen. I don't know, Andrew I feel like I did that one already. This one should be the username. Andrew 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 3 4 5 6. Login errors is not defined. We need to go back and work on that. Okay, we can just do const login errors equals to this.state.login errors. What sucks though is that we do have to re-enter our form again. My apologies. I already used that one. Andrew2@gmail.com. Andrew 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6. Nice. Okay. Not sure why this input is filled out already. That's a little weird. But we're gonna try to log in with, what was it? I think it's Andrew2@gmail.com and 1 2 3 4 5 6. Well, let's sign in with the wrong password first. Password incorrect. Let's see. If I don't put in anything, I believe there's a password not is required. If I do this, both of them are required. And now let's do a successful login. Let's see what that does. Maybe I haven't implemented what happens when it's successful. Oh yeah, indeed, I have not inputted what happens when it's successful. Let's just do alerts home screen. Now you have logged in. Is that how you spell logged in? I actually never knew how to spell logged in. Oh no, it would just be logged in. Wait, logged in. Holy cow, I'm a freaking dumbass. I'm probably high right now. I don't know, man. But I guess in this video we're not going to build the better UI component, and you know, there's a bunch of conditional rendering and nasty BS right here. But we're just going to leave it as it is, because in the next video I will improve the UI a little bit better with you guys. But this is it for this video. For a recap, you know, a lot of the errors comes with not knowing what is being returned from your endpoints. So make sure you check really well what is your endpoints doing and get the address right. Then, you know, fetch request, get request is simple. You just need to put in this. If it's a post request or sending stuff to the endpoint, like any method that you would do with user authentication, you need and open up another bracket and then put in these commands. That is really it. Thank you guys a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.